the ERL Tier 1 Round 12 Mexico for the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez circuit. I am F1ology and I'm joined by Spray. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm all good, fella.
That is good to know, of course. And obviously, today is a big day for AlphaTauri because they can win the constructors if, well, so long they're not outscored by Ferrari by 15 or 16 points, if I'm correct in saying.
14 points. I just realised nice job isn't even here.
14, so pretty
Nice job
much
is
it's
still
simple.
the winner.
So, obviously, no nice job this evening, but we've got a lot of other drivers, obviously, on the grid. No one's obviously out at the moment, so who's your prediction to win tonight?
Well, anyway.
So you're going for, well, anyway, which is fair enough. What? Just need to do audio settings just quickly, and then that's perfect. Sound. Right. So got a flurry of cars now coming out onto the circuit. First out, I believe, is Charlie Harris. How was obviously Las Vegas?
I had a well anyway with me for that week. So also thanks you to well anyway. In all fairness, yeah, there were one or two good battles, but apart from that, it was pretty dead. In all fairness. Nice job, one, and then I don't really remember the podium after that. I think Newcastle was on the podium. I wanted to lose.
Fair enough. So, well, maybe the most interesting of Grand Prix. Hopefully, well, this evening will be better. More, what you call it, permanent track on the calendar, of course, Mexico is. And maybe more of a track drivers like due to the fast flow of the circuit. One of the more, well, I'm pretty sure it's got a high downforce layout, if I'm correct in saying, due to the
Well,
altitude.
I was about to say, so due to the altitude, it's this is like one fact I can remember from all my like seasons of doing free race intros. So it's like 3,000 feet above sea level, so there's so little oxygen there, or so little air that you can run really low winds to get like downforce of Monaco, but because there's so little air, you get so little drag, you can get the speeds of Monza. So in actual F1, it is like Adrian Newey's dream. However, in this game, it doesn't work. The physics don't work the same, so it's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because what I recall, well, I'm pretty sure Red Bulls won the last 4 or 5 Grand Prix at this
Yeah,
circuit
sounds
with
about right.
Verstappen. It's something crazy. Like, but yeah, as you say, it's pretty much Monaco, but with Monza speed. So, but maybe for the drivers it'll be a little bit different in terms of in the game because obviously, I don't think the game engineers, well, that sort of physics, unfortunately. So Charlie is completing Sector 2 now, does it within a 57.9, so he'll be shortly rounding the final couple of corners then, and he will come around the final corner now, or the last real turn, and he dives into the pit lane. So I'm not sure who was behind him. It was Lewis.
Portos, I think, or was Lewis, sorry.
No, Lewis. And Man's Not Bob goes to the top, so he's on a 17.3. So what do you think the pole time will be around here? Into the 15s, or maybe not as quick?
No, I think a low 16. I
So
don't
low
see
16.
anyone getting near the 15. Not a
Fair
chance.
enough. So anyway, um, times are obviously coming in. Brian then we're on board with the Alpine driver as he's rounding the final couple of corners. So far 17.3 is the time to beat with a yellow flag out in final sector.
Well, anyway, it has gone purple in the middle sector.
Yep. And
I want
he's
to
gone to the
full
top.
lap, so we'll see what we can do. In the upper car, reserving tonight, trying to steal a constructor and get some points.
So currently, well, anyway, is the pole sitter for the current race that we're looking at on a 17-0. So currently a 10th between them overall. And our two championship protagonists aren't actually here this evening, or weren't here. Obviously, that's been settled. The Drivers' Championship last time out in Las Vegas, if I'm correct in saying.
Well, technically, it's over. There was one circumstance where Patrick could return to the lead and win all 3 races with 3 fastest laps and a Driver of the Day award, and technically win the championship. And Nice Job didn't actually finish a race. However, Patrick isn't here yet, so Nice Job's lucky.
So yeah, it's pretty much over, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's over.
Pretty much like
I think
real
we'll
life.
wait until Nice Job is actually here to give him this moment, despite technically being champion already.
Well, yeah, 'cause that would be anticlimactic to say someone is a world champion without them having the official moment crossing the line to be world champion. But nonetheless, next driver, I think, on a fast lap then will be Charlie Harris, who's just begun his lap as we head into turn 1 then. And one of the longest runs down into turn 1, as heads through then 2 and 3. Don't want to take too much curve through there, as the car, well, will get a bit, bottoming out sort of stuff. And then into turn 4, then another 90-degree left-hander followed by another 90-degree right-hander, and pretty much the first sector right up to about this point is all 90-degree corners, and then we get into a more flowing S sort of section of the circuit, and then through the middle sector keeps it nicely within the track limits, as heads then into the stadium section. Obviously, for any Mexican drivers, this would be the ideal spot for fans to view on. But anyway, for Charlie, he will exit the stadium and come around the final corner, takes the shortest round to the line, and goes into P9. So Neil, his teammate, is also just beginning a lap, almost halfway through the first sector, and he will then come into the S section. I'm not really sure what the corner names are around this circuit. Not sure if you know any of the corner names around this Mexican circuit, but nonetheless, through then into the stadium, and will soon then cross the line to complete his lap. So this will be the second of the 2 Mercedes to come round. And what can Neil do? Can he join his teammate in the top 10? Nope, only misses out by a few thousandths of a second, but very close between the 2 Mercedes teammate pairing. And Top Car Flogger is on a lap. He's 2 attempts up then, so he is improving on his original lap time, as he's now over half a second up. And into the stadium section he'll come then to complete his lap pretty much, and then come around the final corner, where obviously Valtteri Bottas crashed in 2019 and goes for a very good improvement, 8 tenths up on his best lap time, so he moves into 9th then this evening. So right now the shootout for pole has to be between Lewis and obviously Anyway. Currently both of them, Anyway is about to start a new hot lap, so if you want to take us away on this hot lap, then go for it.
Yeah. So obviously, well, I know a good friend of mine. So into turn one, he's going to keep it up into eighth gear. He's going to brake just past the 100-meter board, drop it into third gear, touch all three of his clubs. He's going to have to ride the inside club, which he actually does not do on that occasion, which I think he's actually lost time from not doing so. Rear wing enabled coming down into the first line for our first sector. It should be a major improvement. 2.5 tenths. Lenaway finds himself now into the slow, twisty second sector line. He's gone wide and he's invalidated. Well, that's anticlimactic.
Yeah, that was anticlimactic indeed for him, unfortunately. And for Lewis, well, he's going to round the final corner, and not sure what Lewis is actually doing because he hasn't got much of ERS actually left, but I think he is going for it.
The middle sector is very slow, so I think he will be okay just to rebuild some of it.
True. Isn't much. Personally, I'd like the starting battery with about 70%.
He has 60, so he's going to be sort of thinking and done the whole entire lap. It really just depends on how much he has, how much he can gain going through this sector. I mean, he's only 300ths of a second over his time, so he's essentially even through the first sector. Big snap of oversteer though. This is not going to be great. He's already low on ERS and he's only gained about 10%. Going into the fast, twisty section, probably the best bit on the circuit, especially if you go onto the actual TV mode. It looks really cool. And I think Lewis is actually backed out. I don't think he's usually backed out anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't think he'll be on a... Well, I think he has backed out, so very early.
Yeah, Mikey across the line. It's going to be a major improvement here. P3 for Mikey.
So Mikey has improved nicely.
We should probably watch this.
Man's not... You mean Man's not Bob?
No, Man's not on pole.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, go on. It's a long story. Right, going over to the first sector line for Man's not Bob, please. 9/10 even on his lap, so not really anything he's doing. George Matt. Whoa. Jesus, George. Where does that come from?
Well, I think George has decided to put on his party mode. Pretty much. That was an outstanding lap to do a 16.5. Certainly raises the benchmark a little bit more for the rest. Man's Not Bob is currently improving by about 1/10.5, so this probably will be a slight improvement. Whether or not he can get into the top 5, that will be probably his objective then for now, and does get into the top 5. So we'll have time probably just to come around and go again for one final run. So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously a lot of drivers will be beginning their final run soon, and I think, well, anyway, this probably be his final attempt at the lap then. So down into then turn 1, obviously starting his lap then here, and obviously hits the inside curb, takes the next one, not as much on the inside, and then into the the first sector, obviously through now the slower twisty stuff, bit deep into turn 4. May have lost a little bit of time through there. Anyway,
that was a lot of
little spin. Yeah. So not the cleanest of laps, but he's still pushing on. Now 3 times.
I don't know. I think there's more in that lap. I don't know, if I was with enemy, I wouldn't really finish this lap. I would definitely just jump into the pit lane and go again. What's he going to do? He is going to finish it. What's it going to be? Four-wheel anyway. Rides the curve really aggressively then. He does get an extra tenth out of the final corner, but
That's it.
a lot of understeer coming forward anyway. He's going to have to really push if he's going to make it into the pit lane and back out. Or is that going to be under qualifying forward anyway?
Yep, that, well, might be the end of quali. For, well, anyway, I think it will be because he isn't going to have enough time to get back to the pit lane in time. Or at least I don't think so. So, I think that'd be his qualifying over then. So, looks like George Matt will be on pole position for this one, unless maybe Appledorn or Lewis have anything to say about that. And talking of Lewis, well, he is currently coming through the first sector and has started the middle sector. So, through then the middle S's, then they go, or he goes on that Williams car, and then we'll come out of the snake or S section and is improving, but only by 3/10, so that would probably get him ahead of Appledorn, but isn't going to be enough to get him, well, any further up than that.
Yeah,
so
the curve on the entry into the final corner, so that's going to lose him time. Yeah, I thought you don't really want to be riding that curve because it really just off puts your balance of the car. So
yeah,
well,
no.
that's when you will end up qualifying over. I don't think he's going to be able to get out on time.
No, well, anyway, definitely won't be. It's really, well, a shootout between, well, Appledorn maybe, unless maybe Mikey or Man's Not Bob can do something, or maybe even a surprise from Neil or someone. So, just gonna have to wait and see. Who are you currently watching at the moment?
And Lewis's lap doesn't really seem to be going as planned. I think he did go for a lap, but
I think Lewis
seems
has
like
already
back
done
out.
one, because he improved up into third.
Oh yeah, he did. If you want to go on board with Alia, maybe I think he could be on a bit of a threat of a lap here. Obviously, I'm not sure how he feels about Mexico, but he's always been generally good at almost every single circle we've had this season. Remember, he has retired in the pit lane. Alia in the complete wrong gear through that section. He's not going to get any sort of revs coming out that corner.
Nope, he won't, but nonetheless, see what he does then through final couple of corners. Then he is coming around, obviously currently over 8 tenths down, and this will then be his final attempt. Can he get into the top 5? That's a decent-ish effort, I suppose. Nonetheless, Man's Not Bob crossing the line to start a lap now, but I think other drivers might be on a faster lap. Lewis is back out there on a lap actually. Not sure if he's gonna be able to go any faster. So
Well, George's just went almost a tenth quicker in the first sector.
So pretty much George, if he improves any more, gonna be uncatchable then. And does look like he's
Completely flat through that sector.
yeah,
That's impressive from George, and he's still a tenth and a half up on his time. Last sector to go, and all that rear end just stepping out of him just for a minute. To go for George, he does find the throttle pretty easily through that sector. A lot of people struggle on that corner, goes wide, but manages to get his foot down onto the exit, and it's going to be an improvement of 7/100ths of a second.
So only Lewis and Appledorn probably can stop.
Really is only the only threat, but I'm not sure how this lap is going for him. Once again, in the wrong gear, you can't be in 7th gear, you need to be in 6th.
So I don't think this lap is really improving, only 14,000 up.
On the exit of the last corner.
Mikey into the top 3. So Appledorn really, I think for him, this will be just about getting into the top 3 if he improves, and doesn't. So Appledorn P5, Man's Not Bob in 8th, was in 7th, but nope, down to 8th. And that is then qualifying over. So George Matt on pole position for your Mexican Grand Prix Tier 1. And it's Well Anyway lining up alongside him with Mikey behind. And realistically, even though
they're in the same party chat at the minute, so I'm very curious to see how their reactions are going to be going in turn 1.
Yeah, well, my opinion is Mikey is really in the box seat here, because P3 can be, well, the real pole position around here due to the slipstream effect. So, yeah, and it's one of the longest runs down into turn 1. If not the longest, I'm pretty sure if I'm correct in saying. So, George Matt on pole, Well Anyway P2, Mikey P3, P4, Lewis Appledorn P5, Ali in P6, Ports P7, then Man's Not Bob P8, Neil is 9th, 10th, Charlie Harris, Top Car Flogger is in 11th, then Kev King is in 12th, Cavolis is 13th, Iron Kid 14th, FCD, all these letters, have no idea how to pronounce that name, 15th. Then we got Elliot in 16th, Mufasa 19th, Brian in 18th, Costa is in 19th, and Demac is in then 20th, rounding up the back of the grid. So should be a one-stop, I think, this race. Well, pretty much like every race, but obviously safety cars and all that, obviously drivers are going to have to factor into account.
I mean, yeah, I don't really see a strategy other than the one stop. I mean, obviously, unless there are safety cars and VSCs, etc. But to be honest, this should be an easy one stop. You could even go a soft medium if you really wanted to experiment, but I think a medium hard will just do.
Yeah, no, indeed, one stop should be the easiest way. We'll get into the end.
Is there a glitch with the lobby? Because it seems to be taking a bit longer than usual. Oh, there we go. It's not going to be a formation up, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in Mexico City, and it is lights out, and away we go. But anyway, doesn't get the jump, and also it's going to be Mikey who's going to come up through the middle of all three. They're going to be 4 wide into the first corner. Lewis does back out just a little bit. Mikey takes the lead of the opening corner. George Matt skates second. Well, anyway, drops down into almost 3rd place and goes back into 5th. Now back into 3rd. But Mikey, through the middle of the front 2, does manage to take the lead. Lewis found himself almost in 1st place, but does just back out of his 4 wide scenario. Goes alongside with Appledorn. Coming to turn 4, does not decide to make the move. Alia and Port side by side. Through the slow section, the Aston with a bit of better traction, he's going to hold it all the way around the outside of the Ferrari, and there we go, he's going to get the move done into 6th place. But superb start from Mikey, who takes the lead of the Mexico Grand Prix. George was too distracted with Well Anyway, and he's just let Mikey slip through. There's a move at the back. Brian overtakes FC. Kev King right on the back of Top Car Flogger. Could there be a move into the stadium section? Not quite. The McLaren right on the back of the Ferrari as well. And Top Car Flogger goes really wide. Almost allows Kev King to slip through.
So we cross the line then now.
There's a yellow flag, and that's Appledorn. I think he's been tagged, to be honest.
Is he out though? I don't think so.
No, he's not out, but I think he's been tagged. I don't think that was I don't think that was a spin.
Someone else is also spun. But Mikey leads then the Grand Prix by 1.5 seconds, and well, it was a brilliant getaway for Mikey, have to be said. Even though
He's on the soft. That's why.
Well, yeah. I was going to point that out. He's on the softs, but I was also going to say, I did also say that being third isn't the worst position around here due to the slipstream. So, yeah. It's a good start then by him. Obviously, he is on softs, so those softs will die a lot quicker. Iron Kid also started on the softs, so they'll probably be going to about lap 12 in this race, and then maybe onto a set of hards or mediums. Meanwhile, the medium runners probably a little bit longer. So we've got a retirement.
Looks like a Red Bull, last man's not Bob.
He's out of the Grand Prix, but no safety car. So we will continue on then in this race. So.
Well, anyway, closing in on to George Matt for second place in this Grand Prix, and George, who took pole, and I was going to see himself drop to the third place on the podium.
Yeah, well, anyway, overtaking, obviously, George Matt. But them two do have good pace, in qualifying, so maybe they'll work a little bit together to try and chase down Mikey. However, he's pulled a little bit out of a gap during that first bit of the sector, so it looked like he's got really, really good pace. And Elliot is out. I'm not sure if this could trigger a safety car. Is the yellow flag in sector 3, but
yeah, that looks
so
like
far not.
White JR Elliot. Seems to be a lot of contact up the back.
Yep, certainly does. So, nonetheless, no safety cars in this race so far, which is probably a relief to the drivers, especially those probably starting on the softs, because you don't really want a safety car when you're starting on softs early on. Realistically, you'd prefer one maybe a little bit later on into the strategy for them. Nafasa looking quite decent here as he's following Kavolis. But
he has managed to pull out 5 tenths on the car head, so maybe Mikey's softs aren't having the grip that they used to do. Also, those tyres used to be able to last some distance, but the effectiveness compared to the mediums will just slowly start to where Elliot gets the position onto Lewis is now going to close it to the back of George Matt, who's just nailed that first few corners, by the way. That was really cool to watch.
Yeah. So he'll be trying to get onto the back of them, or that group. The battle for what could be the win at the moment in this race. Obviously, a long way to go. No one's obviously going to win the Grand Prix on lap 4, but that group certainly does look like it'll be the lead group during this race. Then, as we get the helicopter shot of the cars going through the middle sector, then, and I think we've got another yellow flag. It's for Ports, who's not out, I don't think. I think he's had a technical glitch.
Yep.
Because his car is going again in probably AI mode.
Well, I think there's going to be another position change for second place. It's going to be George Matt onto Well anyway, just down the pit straight. Not really much to commentate. George is just going to go past the Alpha Tower. Simple as that.
Yep, so gets the move done. Pretty simple, obviously. And we'll have the second dose of DRS as well, because it's a double DRS activation, so that will help him, well, not just get the move done, but secure the move and pull away a little bit slightly, and maybe pull up a little bit closer to the back of Mikey, who obviously now those soft tyres will be a bit beyond their best, but obviously still got decent pace on them at the moment. Obviously, roughly I say lap 12 will be his pit stop, or the time they want him to come in. I only know that because not too long ago did a race around Mexico actually and started on the soft sided. Weren't the best strategy, but obviously lap 12 was meant to do pit stop, so that's when he'll be probably asked to come in by the team or by the game to do his stop. onto mediums, and currently he leads away. And about to lap, obviously, Costa, who is about to go a lap down already after 4 laps in this Grand Prix, and we're probably going to see another pass for this P2 then position. We see well anyway.
So. It's going to be a bit of a lunge for him anyway. He's gonna make it. He's gonna make it happen. Well, anyway, it does get these positions back onto George Matt. These two need to sort it out if they want to try and get back up to Mikey, because they are sort of losing a bit of time here.
Yeah, but I suppose they can fight a little bit, maybe. But yeah, no, they do probably need to sort out which one should be ahead of the other. Ultimately, and working a bit more together in this race than what they're currently doing. But nonetheless, then Ali is also closing.
Interesting as well as Mikey is going to pull up to the back of Co-Star and maybe get some DRS. And what has happened to Mikey? He's just lost almost 8 tenths in that sector. What has just happened?
I think he might have had a moment, but he seems to have pulled a little bit
the
out.
whole time. He didn't make any mistakes.
And he's gone even more deep. He's now lost the entire, well, second almost. So Mikey's going to be in real trouble down this pit straight from, well, anyway, who, yeah, should get the move done for the race lead if he can get there.
Gaining. I think he's just a bit too far back on this occasion. Cameron anyway make a move late on the brakes. No, it can't. But Mikey is just going to hold the apex quite nicely. I was about to say he went deep, but he did not. So Mikey does last just one more lap here in Mexico, but I think this move is going to come any minute now. Mikey's battery is flashing, and anyway, sees an opportunity, goes around the outside into turn 4. He's got his nose ahead, and he's going to get the position. He's going to take the lead in Mexico. Mikey does see the move, he's going to try and hang it out one more time. This is now going to see George Matt better traction as well. Maybe could get an overtake done, but he's now going to be held up through this section, and Mikey does seem to be struggling a little bit.
Yeah, well, those tyres are probably, I think, done by the looks of it, maybe.
George is going to try and get this move done now. He's going to have to really push for it. Because if not, he's going to see Will anyway really start to pull away.
And Mikey is also...
It's going to be a VSC or something.
Yeah.
No?
That should have been a VSC. To be fair, we've had 3 retirements. He's
going to get this position done now. Well, anyway, out of DRS, so George has lost about 1.5 seconds onto Well anyway, but with this DRS, should just manage to pull it back up to about a second.
Well, that's an easy overtake for them two. Pretty much down into turn 1. But Mikey's got also another problem. Obviously, he's don't know if you notice his fuel flashlights on.
And also, another problem is that Ali's just overtaken him.
Yeah, pretty much. And here comes Lewis. Then down the inside, is he going to go? He sticks a nose in, but no. Backs out, but gets a good drive.
It's a really lovely switch back. Oh, Mikey just closes the door enough there.
And Ironcud is now out, and
have you got a lovely restart by any chance? Everyone seems to be fine.
I am not too sure. We must have a lobby restart. Yes, there is a lobby restart due to the fact there's no safety car switched on.
Hopefully the race is goes to 25% now.
Yeah, I hope it's only 25%. We've pretty much done... Well, how much have we done already? We've done about good 10 or whatever. Maybe a 35%. Not really too sure. But to be fair, have they all retired?
No, but they're not going to see the message because they're driving.
That's what I'm thinking. See, that's the issue. Like, hopefully they're listening to the stream, or they see stuff like, yeah, because literally they're engaged in a very intense battle at the moment. Which obviously isn't ideal.
I mean, I'm not really sure what's going to happen here. I mean,
Yeah.
So the people who are driving, I think, okay, Charlie House, that should maybe cause a little bit of anger. Top Logger as well. Hopefully this sort of in-game message does get relayed. Everyone is retiring, so hopefully they will be able to see. Yeah, okay, there we go. Hopefully it is not a 35% race, because, well, a 50%.
No, I don't think it'll be 50%. I imagine it'll be only 25 or 35% now. Pretty much. So, yeah. Hopefully we can join the new lobby without ending the stream. If not, we'll have to restart the stream and rejoin. Well, that was good. So we are back in the lobby, or at least I am, waiting for the race to be restarted. Then, um, obviously had to restart the lobby due to the fact safety car wasn't turned on. So hopefully it's not more than well, not sure how far the race will be, but hopefully it's not really anything more than a 25 or 35% race. Really, it shouldn't be, I don't think, due to the fact we did about 8 laps anyway, so at least got about 10 or 20% out of the way. So, nonetheless,
For some reason, it is not letting me join the lobby.
you might have to quit the game. Have you done that?
I already have, yeah.
Not really sure then. Is it just loading?
Oh, nope, my game's just crashed. Lovely.
And there you go.
This is sort of my last chance to join. If I don't join, I'm just going to jack it in because I'm not really sure what else I can do.
Oh, that's okay. I hope it's not original distance.
Oh, that's no.
I want to watch the Chelsea match.
I'm really hoping it can't be full race distance.
Well, at the moment it's 36 laps. Oh well.
I'll be back in a minute, alright?
So now be 25 laps. So 35% race. I'm just waiting, I think, for Mufasa to select his car, and then we can go. If I'm correct in saying. So yeah, hopefully the safety car is turned on this time, and all the other correct settings. That'll be important for the drive, well, for everything, for the lobby to run smoothly. So here we go then, as the lobby will get restarted. Hopefully drivers don't get to forget to put on their setups. That'll be important, sure. There'll be at least a 2 or 3 minute delay, and then it'll be 5 red lights and lights out, and away we go once again for the second time this evening. You good?
Yeah.
Cool. Where did you go?
I want to go speak to Will anyway and Thingy and George.
Fair enough.
Just talking GRL stuff.
Fair enough. That is fair enough then. Cool. So who do you think then gains out of the safety car thing?
I mean, I believe everyone's allowed to restart Moon.
Pretty much everything, yeah.
I mean, hopefully with 25%, we'll finish about 20 minutes later than usual, which isn't terrible, it's just a bit annoying.
Yeah, no, indeed.
Well, it's just one more week following this, and then it is all over.
Yep.
And then actually, by the time then, the Giro season starts, essentially.
Essentially, yeah, 20th, ain't it? 23rd or whatever.
28th.
28th.
Yeah.
It's that week,
So
though.
we probably could pull it back a few weeks, or maybe 1 or 2 weeks, but I wasn't expecting summer to go this quickly.
It's basically Halloween when it starts.
Yeah. So, yeah. Essentially, by the time ERL finishes, GRL will be a week or 2 from starting.
Yeah, well, that'll be good. Halloween.
By the way, I'm hosting some. Oh, actually, don't worry. I'll sort that later. Anyway, once again, it is Fire Red Lights here in Mexico City, and it is lights out and away we go. Once again, George safe across the line. George, and well, anyway, not really putting on a lot of pressure. Mikey once again is going to see the opportunity through the middle of all of them, and that is well, anyway, ducking out to that right hand side. He's got Lewis for company now. 2 wide and 2 wide. George and Mikey. Well, anyway, and Lewis. Mikey takes the lead once again. George is going to see himself just fall behind Mikey for the minute once again on the soft compound. Well, anyway, does lose a position, but he is very safe from everyone else from the brink. We'll have a look at the tyres. So, soft tyres for the two who managed to gain positions and mediums for George and well, anyway, there was a yellow flag, not exactly who for, but following the opening few corners, Mikey takes the lead once again as he did just the race before. Lewis sees himself get past. Well, anyway, Alia putting a lot of pressure onto Appledorn on the back end. Appledorn's not taken the most funkiest racing line I think I've ever seen. Wow. Lewis is going to close up to the back of George Matt. These soft tyres normally last around 4 laps until they start becoming a lot under pressure. So the soft runners will see a big benefit for the minute, but obviously they will not last forever. It will just be a simple medium soft for the duration of the Grand Prix. Just 25 laps, so it shouldn't be horrendous. Well, anyway, he sees himself right on the back of Lewis. Mikey picks up the fastest lap of the race. Lewis is burning his battery, closing in onto George Matt. I think he's going to see himself close up to the back of the Mercedes of Charlie Harris as well. Here we go, into second place goes Lewis. He's burned up every bit of his battery already. George does he fights a battle with a hand tied behind his back, really. The two soft runners in P1 and P2, but Lewis out of battery on lap 2. You would think it's a 2-lap sprint to the finish line.
Yep, you would. That is a lot of battery to have already lost, then only 2 laps into the race. Then as we go further back, no one really making moves further back, so we'll go back to our leaders. And once again then, Mikey leads the way. However, obviously Lewis is
that's a Red Bull. He's gone really wide. That's Mufasa. He breaks the braking board as well. Goes super wide. Man's got Bob, his teammate, right behind him. Oh, he's gonna. I think Mufasa must have some sort of wing damage. He's all over the place. Avalon picks up a 3-second penalty. The two Red Bulls side by side into the stadium section. He's gonna let Man's Bob go and fight for the positions higher up the board. Is there anything that's going to happen on the back straight? It doesn't seem so. Iron Kid on the back of Charlie Harris, and Mikey G's just been overtaken for the lead.
Yeah,
Lewis out of battery, but Mikey's going to fight this back. He's going to go down the inside of someone. All this is going to do is help well anyway, and George picked himself back up in this fight. Mikey, the much better line, the much better battery, will start to see himself creep back in to the lead of the Grand Prix. Just have to give him 1 or 2 laps, but all that has done has ruined the soft tyre and brought the 2 medium runners back into it. All that George and Willenoway have to do is wait. They just have to stay in this battle. They don't have to do anything fancy. They stay in each other's DRS. As soon as they go on that soft tyres, they will fly past.
Yeah, they should do. Overall, then, as they head towards then the stadium section, and Mikey looking very vulnerable because he's about to drop out of Lewis's DRS range if he doesn't get his act together within this final sector.
That's going to be crucial. He's going to need to get DRS just so he doesn't get swallowed up by Jordan Runner, who are arguably the rightful owners of that first and second place. Obviously different strategies means that them two do have the lead of the race, but sat 3rd and 4th, I think the real threat for the race league is George Willenoway. And here we go, Mikey is going to gain the position once again onto Lewis. No battery. He is completely out of battery. I'm not really sure what his racecraft is at the minute, but it's fair to say it's dodgy.
Well, that is a fair comment, but nonetheless, yeah, you had a flag momentarily down the straight, but to be fair, well, I guess for Mikey this could be a bit of a better scenario given Lewis is behind now, and given he's got a bit of a blockade between himself and George Matt. So if he can just keep ahead of Lewis, then there's every chance.
That's another yellow flag. That's that's going to be a safety car.
Full safety car.
Oh, it was actually a really good battle, man. It was really good.
Yeah, but that will be music to Lewis's and Mikey's eyes, because they can come in now and maybe fit on the hards or fit on mediums, and for them that will give them a opportunity. Lewis takes the opportunity, Mikey doesn't, so Mikey decides to stay out. Obviously Lewis will lose out on track position, but will gain in the fact he doesn't have to make any further stops again. Does go for the medium tyres. It's a long stint.
That seems way too early for me, to be honest. I would have kept it on the hard.
I think that's the wrong tyre choice, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we'll have about, what is it? Well, there's 20 laps to go in this race, so it is going to have about a good, once we get the race restarted, a good maybe 18 laps to do on those mediums. So it's a long stint on mediums, especially in a 35% race. But I suppose it's doable. Still, as we now trickle onto lap 5, and Charlie, I think it's Charlie, or is it Neil? I think it's actually Neil, has hit the wall, done a bit of a Valtteri Bottas, when Valtteri Bottas spun under safety car and hit the barrier in 2019, I think it was China, or it might have been 2018 China, I can't remember which year. It was definitely China he done it, hit the barrier under the safety car, or doing a bit of a Grosjean, just basically lost the car there for the Mercedes driver, and he's going to have to come into the pit stop. But for him, that's going to be extra pain, because not only is he going to lose, well, track position to pretty much near enough everyone on the track, but pretty much, yeah. Now, actually, what's gone on here? I'm well confused. Why is Elliott leading? Number 1, and why is safety car not picked up the leader?
Oh, what?
See, this is what happens when you turn on safety car.
Sugar's left it off.
Yep. I'm not restarting again.
No, I can. No, not a chance. Is it racing or is it just Delta?
I'm not sure. I mean, safety car is glitched in my opinion, or at least every time I've seen it. And if Elliott's not too careful, he's going to get disqualified here. Overtaking safety car, he does back off a little bit. So
how did JL get into the lead?
No idea whatsoever. All I know, Neil crashed. I was focused on that, and then next minute, Neil's in the lead. His car is, what you call it, lagging a lot, and Elliott's apparently in the pit lane.
What? He's not. He's on the. After this is so this is bad. What do you mean he's in the pit lane? He's on the straight.
Yeah, I had no idea.
He's not in the pit lane.
He isn't anywhere, to be fair.
Everyone is ghosted. Like, what is going on? Just overtake him. Just go past it. Okay, what? He just ended up in the wall. I mean, what? Okay, what is going on? Okay, he's at the back now. He's had a severe collision with...
Well, half the grid's race is ruined once again, potentially. This lobby is absolutely ruined, in my opinion, and safety car is in this lap, unless it decides to stay out like it did the other night in Vegas.
No, it's back out. It's back in. Okay, what is it?
We'll soon find out. I think it is then. No, it has come in. So we can go racing again, and Mikey has gone Gets a
And
decent restart.
George Matt is under a lot of pressure here from well anyway. They're both clear of Alia. So they do have 3 more. Alia, no, they're not clear of Alia. He's just come in like a steam train. There's 3 wide into turn 1. Alia clear of all 3 of them, I do believe. He's just so fast in a straight line. Well, anyway, just seems to have moved into 4th. What is the pace on the Aston there?
Oh, well, he is obviously
does survive.
Yeah, obviously not a good fall. Well, anyway, to be down in 4th, but for George Matt, he's gonna be all over the back of the Alfa Romeo driver, who's on those 7-lap-old softs. So obviously, how does Mikey defend against the Haas? That's going to be the key question. Further down the field, there are no real overtakes. However, having said that, Charlie is under a bit of pressure from top car Flogger, who...
Yeah, they change it. There we go. George Matt is going to make the move into the stadium section. He's going to force Mikey a little bit wide, but that's how you get the move done. George takes the lead. Mikey is going to start to suffer on those cars, and all these cars need to start separating, because I have a feeling an incident will come soon, because they're so close together.
Yeah, and obviously chaos sparks more chaos usually. Yellow flags breed yellow flags, and Cavolis has retired, and we've got another full car safety car. Pretty much right on cue. That was lovely stuff. So, second safety car of the evening. For some of the drivers, this will be good. For other drivers, this is going to be not so good. I suppose for Lewis, he'll be happy. Haven't had to use those medium tyres he's on at all really in this race. So, nonetheless, this is going to be a good opportunity to come in, maybe fit a hard set of tyres and then go to the end. Hopefully, and hopefully this will be the final safety car. No more glitches within this race or whatever. Still, we'll soon find out.
Let's see if the medium runners are going to come to the pit lane. It just seems so. What car are they going to go on to there?
Imagine they'll go on to hards, the mediums, and then the soft runners.
Yeah, I think the hard's definitely right there. But this is now given Mikey the position and the bigger tyre.
Yeah, I suppose it probably has, but Mikey's also gone on to hards actually, so it's even probably till the end actually, to be fair. Finally, he's on the same strategy, but Lewis obviously isn't on the same strategy. He's now, well, effectively 10 cars clear of this group, which all, I believe, made their pit stops during the last safety car period. So everyone from the last safety car period have effectively all gained. Everyone from this safety car period have all lost. So actually, probably the real winner is Lewis, who's 10 cars up the road in the end. So for him, George, Matt and Mikey and all of them will probably steam through the field very, very quickly, but what will be the gap when, I suppose, they get to to Lewis? Of course, that'll be the biggest issue, I suppose, for them. And obviously awaiting the safety car to come back into the pits, and so we can get going. So, obviously laps 11 of the race, and obviously we're awaiting the safety car to come in at the end of this lap. It should be. Obviously your current race leader is Lewis, who's led the race already once and is leading again. Then obviously in second, Iron Kid, followed by Charlie and Top Car Flogger. Then your other main, focuses in this race have to be George, Matt, Mikey, Ali, and anyway, who all have made their pit stops. Pretty sure everyone has made a pit stop during this race. Indeed they have. So everyone's made at least the mandatory stop requirement. So if the race does end now, obviously no one would get disqualified, which is usually the penalty for that. So that is all good. Everyone is safe to run to the end of the Grand Prix without worry of losing their position, and safety car is going to be in then at the end of this lap then for the second time in the race here. So, who are you predicting now to win this race? Still going for George? Or anyway?
I mean, they've got the tyre disadvantage now. I don't know.
So,
But
once again, racing.
Gone in and they're going to get racing.
So, Lewis leads us down into turn one, and he's got Iron Kid then coming after him as we head into turn one, but manages to hold off the position for now. Is George and Matt making up moves? No, but Mikey is.
The other way around, that's a ridiculous send from Mikey. I mean, on a safety car restart, that was dangerous. That really was, and he's going to he's really going to live with the consequences now. He's just been overtaken by two cars, and now he's got well anyway behind him, but it was an unbelievable send here. It was all around the outside, and I think he almost went into the back of I think it was Neil maybe. It was a very scary stuff. And well anyways, thanks George Matt.
Yeah, contact between the two. That wasn't deliberate by anyway, but accidentally tags him.
It's all over the place.
He was fighting with Mikey, who just wasn't willing to give up the position, and we did see that in the previous race. To be fair, Mikey is certainly not a driver who likes to give up the position to the car who he's fighting with. He would prefer to try and stick it out there, but for then him, I suppose it's worked a little bit out for him because he's still in P11. For Ali though, he is then in P10, soon to become P9, and gets the move done down the pit straight and overtakes Neil for then P9 in this race. Going back to the race leader, and there's already then a second gap. Can Demac go around the outside of Costa? Yes, he can, and takes the move then, and that opens up the door for Man's Not Bob, who's then side by side with the Ferrari driver, and it looks like Ferrari's.
There, to be honest, there's a lot about the tyre. There was a lot of Red Bull. I don't really see who was where, and I'm not really sure what happened, to be honest.
Yeah, crazy racing going on at the moment.
Yeah, 100%.
Literally, because even with the Ferrari and the, Man's Not Bob, that was a bit crazy racing between them two, almost coming together between another pairing then of them. So, yeah, a bit of a frantic restart. Obviously, safety cars breed safety cars and all that sort of stuff, they say, in racing, and it's certainly doing that here today. And Ali has tagged, by the looks of it, Fashidi, or whatever his name is, the Dutchman then, and unfortunately for Ali, he's now down the order. That's then promoted anyway up, and also same with Mikey, he's now up a few more positions and chasing down then the front few.
Has been tagged as well.
Yeah, and we've now got a virtual safety car in this race. So, it's been a good race then for Lewis, who's now 4 seconds clear, I think, or whatever. I'm not really too sure what's his gap, because That's just comes down all of a sudden, so maybe it was speeding a little bit under the safety car. But he is obviously ahead in this race. Iron Kid P2, Charlie Harris P3. Those are your top three at the moment. So obviously waiting for the virtual safety car to end, then obviously go racing once again, and hopefully drivers just calm down a little bit. A few drivers, well, racing maybe a bit beyond the limit, and obviously having a few incidents. Obviously a bit unnecessary to have those incidents. And obviously safety car is in, or virtual safety cars in. We go racing once again. Obviously now DRS is enabled, so anyone within a second is going to benefit from that, and Charlie is going to be one of them.
Mufasa. Just completely lost traction.
So Mufasa is out, but for then these two got then Charlie chasing then Iron Kid, who's chasing or being chased by Top Car Flogger. Charlie goes down the inside, makes a little bit of contact with Iron Kid, but it's all okay in the end, and he is through. Then Iron Kid is gone off somewhere. He's literally tumbled down the order like no tomorrow. And Top Car Flogger then is up into fourth. Demac and Man's Not Bob then are fighting out for P5 then in this race at the moment, and for Man's Not Bob, after, well, due to the fact he retired on the previous race on only lap 2, he's done a fantastic job in this race to get up to 5th at the moment in this event so far, and quite frankly, well, that has certainly worked out for him after being one of the unlucky victims in the previous lobby to get back into it and to be back into the top 5. So obviously that's worked out very nicely for him, and obviously Costa went off in the background there, went a bit wide, so that's going to put pressure onto him from Neil and Kev King, who is behind, but Man's Not Bob and Demac are the two we're probably going to focus on quickly here as they go then down pit straight. Man's Not Bob gets the DRS and gets the move done. Now time for Costa and Neil. Neil going to get the DRS, gets the move done, also down into turn 1, then nicely done, well into the braking zone, and they're through. And Mikey now then fighting with, well, Anyway, who is then all over the back. This is battle for 9th. Would have been the battle for the lead if things went a bit differently potentially. But right now, it's battle for the 9th.
Other people have got a hit, and that's an unbelievable send from Will Anyway. But in all fairness, Mikey did leave the door open a little bit.
Yeah, but he got the move done cleanly.
A little bit too late for me on the brakes. I'm not sure if I would make that move. But they kept it clean. He kept it in between the white lines. Mikey saw it coming. He couldn't do anything about it. Well, anyway, into 9th place.
Yeah, in the end, it's what do you call it? Hard but fair racing, I suppose. In the end. So you still think this is a battle for the lead, yeah? I take it.
100%. Everyone else has got a bit.
Okay, fair enough. I don't think he is. I think the battle for the lead is a bit further up. I feel like, you know, Lewis is in the lead at the moment, because obviously I know you're saying got a bit, but you know.
No chance he does that on medium. No chance. Not
okay. Well, we will see. Anyway.
Oh, Mikey's going to fight this back. They're also going to call for the back of Co-Star as well. It's going to be close, and anyways, essentially been boxed in. Can't do anything about it. Mikey is going to try and get this move on to Co-Star, but it's actually, well, anyway, he's going to get the bigger exit. He's going to go for the switchback. Just been a little bit blocked there by Mikey. Well, anyways, going to have to do the same thing. He's going to have to try and pull off a bit of a send here. Can't do it this time around. Mikey has learned his lesson. Elliot fighting at the back with Co-Star. A lot of wheel banging going on back there.
Yeah, a little bit of wheel bang in between them two, but well, them to have gone into the barrier, and Ali has lost his front wing, and pretty much he's crashed out deliberately there.
Oh, don't do it.
Don't cause a safety car. Anyway, I think we've got away with that one. But yeah, Ali is out then of the race. Lewis 4 seconds up the road then, or 5 seconds now from Charlie Harris then, and Mikey is trying to chase down then obviously Neil, who is ahead of these drivers, and obviously, well, anyway, fighting away as move going on then for P6 in the race, or fifth in the race then, from Kev King, who is now ahead of then Man's Not Bob, or Man's Not Pole, whatever you said earlier. Still, Top Car Flogger is also under, well, yeah, he is under a bit of pressure from Kev King, who is up the road. So, right now, top 8 separated by 10.5 seconds, and Charlie Harris has spun.
That's Charlie Harris.
Yeah, and he's lost the front wing for good measure. So, pretty much his race, well, is over unless there's another safety car. Then that will be the end of his day then here in ERL, and it's a Williams 1-2 then in this race. I didn't even realise how the hell has that happened. Kev King overtaking then for third, gets the move done. The Irishman is through and up onto the podium for then Aston Martin, and gets then Top Car Flogger in the Alfa Romeo, the second of the two Alfa Romeos on the track, and he is behind. Costa is then making up the position due to the people in the pit lane. Brian's got a 5-second speeding in the pit lane penalty. Not sure that's going to make much of a difference in the end to his race. Then as we approach then the final few laps, and a yellow flag.
George, maybe ask George might in the wall.
No, I think it's a Ferrari down at turn 1,
no, it's George. It's George.
That's George. Fair enough then.
Well, maybe you're alright. The Williams do seem to have enough of a gap. Those tyres are not going to be great, but I think it is enough.
I think it's enough. I think, you know, I think because Lewis didn't have to use up his tyres under what you call it, the safety car periods, obviously that brought him 6 extra laps of what you call it, tyres. So in theory, if this race didn't go, well, only had one safety car, I think you're right in truth, but due to the fact it had another safety car, I think that's why.
He's trying to get a move here, maybe on Neil. I think he's going to get this done. Yes, he is.
Yeah,
and
but
Tesla and D-Mac are going to have a scrap here as well.
Gotta be careful. Suppose Mikey has to be. Still could maybe chase down for the race win, potentially here, but very low on the ERS he is, which isn't going to help. And then I suppose they're all a bit low at the moment. So, Man's Not Bob currently just behind the podium runner of Kev King, and Kev King, well, will have the opportunity to overtake the Mac, one of the two Williams drivers who is leading currently at Williams 1-2 as we enter then lap 21. This is for P2 on the podium for himself. For the Aston Martin, obviously got the DRS to aid him down the main straight. And here we go then for the move then. So he's closing obviously very quickly and gets the move done under the brakes into turn 1, and we'll have more DRS for good measure, but gets a bit of a poor exit, and this is going to allow the Mac then an opportunity to come back in the Williams, but obviously with that DRS then Kev King can just, I think, keep the position, but they've had a bit of contact. Yeah, and that has cost also him the position to Man's Not Bob, and Demac has kept the position then for at least another lap, but obviously Man's Not Bob has got a time penalty coming his way towards the end of this race. So for Demac, maybe it's a bit more comfortable to let Man's Not Bob through, or to not get overtaken by him, because obviously with that time penalty, this isn't going to be for track position necessarily. Obviously, Man's Not Bob will gain out of it, but just won't gain. Well, we'll need to put out more of a lead. But Demac is doing a fantastic job for Lewis, obviously his teammate, and here we go then, once again. So this time a lot easier. Wow. Rebel just shot past then Man's Not Bob. So this was where the Williams driver was a bit stronger last time than the Aston Martin, and came back on the tyres and on the traction, but this time Man's Not Bob is able to get ahead, stay ahead, and is now up into P2 in this race, only behind now Lewis. However, they're both on the same obviously tyre length, so for Demac that should in truth not really make too much of a difference. It will come down to their driving ability more than anything, and obviously Demac will have DRS now to basically help him close up in this first of the 3 DRS zones. Then the second DRS zone down the main straight, Bob's gone a bit deep into the stadium, so that's going to affect his run through there, and through the final corner I think this will be an easy re-overtake for Demac, who will then get the DRS and will basically have everything for him going down this main straight as we head on to lap 23. Then here comes Demac then, and decides not to go for it, so maybe he's going to wait for the second of the 2 DRS zones. Then that did seem like he lifted out, but yeah, we'll soon see. So Demac overtakes and gets the move done around the outside, and is now up into P2 in this race then, once more. Any interesting battles you're seeing?
Not entirely. I mean, all these cars just kind of simply falling over each other is the way I would like to put it. No, literally nothing else.
Fair enough.
He's got a chance here onto Mikey. He's got a much better exit. There's a yellow flag, that's from Charlie Harris. He is out. And oh, Mikey's gone really wide into the swipe. What? Neil's just bottled that move. He has absolutely bottled it. Mikey goes super wide, and granted he's cut himself back onto the track, but if Neil kept on the line, he would have had the inside for the stadium. I'm not really sure why Neil braked, to be perfectly honest with you, but...
Well, he will have the DRS to help him out as Man's Not Bob overtakes once more Demac, and obviously we are on then the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, lap 4 of 25. Man's Not Bob though will be in a weaker position, however, so I think Demac will be able to overtake once again when we get back around on this final lap. So this battle's going to go, well, to the wire, I suppose, between this group, which is pretty much from second all the way down to 8th at the moment, to, well, anyway. How many positions Man's Not Bob is going to lose out is going to be a interesting one to see, because he could lose out quite a number. With the tightness of that midfield, from second down to obviously 8th, so yeah, that'll be a very interesting one to see. But either way, on the final lap of the Grand Prix then, so is Man's Not Bob clear enough to stay ahead, using up all his battery then as we head into turn 1, and he might just be able to keep ahead of the Williams driver. We go into turn 1 for one final time. Then Man's Not Bob has survived the first of the two attacks. Then, so this is the second attack, and Man's Not Bob has gone very wide, and that's going to allow Demac then the opportunity to go through, gets the move done into the braking zone. Nothing Man's Not Bob can do, and he is now back down into third. So this is going to be a Williams 1 and 2 finish in this race, so long Demac keeps it as clean as a whistle going through this final sector. Going back to our race leader then, because that's probably the more important one. As he enters the final, into the stadium section for the final time, he is going to win the Mexican Grand Prix then for Lewis. He got the strategy call just about right today, obviously. He would be a bit fortunate that there was a lobby restart, but he did a great job and takes the checkered flag to win. His teammate is going to confirm it to be a Williams 1-2. It's a Williams 1-2 in ERL, followed by Kev King, the Irishman, and then Man's Not Bob is going to drop down the order, only down into 5th. Top Car Flogger comes across the line in 4th. Mikey is in 6th, Neil 7th. Well, anyway, 8th. Iron Kid 9th. FGD Dutchman is in 10th. Costa 11th. White JR Elliott is in then 12th, and Brian will be the final car to finish this race. So there is a bit of a battle going on between them, so we'll keep watching to see who comes out on top. I think probably Elliott will come out on top, but who's your driver of the day? Spray, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah.
Pretty anticlimactic, in all fairness.
Fair enough. You got a driver of the day or no?
I think Top Car Flogger like a quiet drive, but it's a neat drive. I guess Lewis is very fortunate on the strategy and the lobby screw up.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Very fortunate.
No, I totally agree. I would give it to Lewis, but I think I'm going to give it to Demac. He doesn't finish on the podium much. So, yeah, I think he's my driver of the day. So,
what I'll do is I'll quickly just go through the race classification so I can go to bed. So, it is a Williams 1-2. Lewis G wins the Mexico City Grand Prix. Demac finishes second for the Williams team, racking up those constructors' points. Kev King finishes on the third step of the podium. Top Car Flogger and Man's Not Bob sit 4th and 5th, with Mike G sitting in 6th. 7th place, a big win for New and a big failure for Well Anyway in 8th place. Unfortunate with about everything tonight. Iron Kid sits 9th with FC rounding up the top 10. Kosar in 11th with White JR Elliott in 12th. Brian sits 13th, then the DNF star Charlie, George Matt, Ali, Mufasa Cavalis and Appledorn.
there we go.
That is it.
And AlphaTauri, I think, are constructors champions because Ferrari didn't outscore them by 14 points. So there we go. AlphaTauri then have, but yeah. Anyway, so thank you for watching. See you all next time for whichever race it is. That's been ERL Mexico Tier 1 tonight. See you all next week.
Thank you.